Okay. Pricing with market power, chapter 10, price discrimination, perfect price discrimination, non-linear price, two-part pricing, peak load pricing. Managerial problem. So Heinz dominates the ketchup market in US, Canada, and UK. When Heinz goes on sale, switchers purchase Heinz rather than other brand. How Heinz manages design a pattern of sale that makes a Heinz profit. We need to examine how monopolies and other non-competitive firms set prices. These firms can earn a higher profit setting different prices for the same good or service depending on consumers' willingness to pay. Types of non-uniform pricing, price discrimination, two-part pricing, bundling, and peak load pricing. Price discrimination occurs when a firm charges different price for a good, for almost any good, or some customers are willing to pay more than others. Price discrimination can extract additional from consumer from customers who place a high value on a good. A monopoly or oligopoly or monopolistically competitive firm might be able to price discriminate. A perfectly competitive firm cannot. Condition: a firm must identify groups with different price sensitivity. Firm must identify how consumers have different demand. Disneyland, most tourists and local residents differ in their willingness to pay and use driver licenses to identify them. Condition: a firm must prevent resale. If resale is easy, price discrimination doesn't work because of only low prices. The big obstacle to price discrimination is the firm's inability to prevent resale. Now, when Amazon, let's say, entered the market or several years ago, 10, 15, 20 years ago, I don't know exactly, some US citizens did the price arbitrage. What does this mean? They were buying something very cheap from the Amazon and sell it to other buyers who will at higher prices, and they were making a profit, like speculative, let's say, speculative approach. It's interesting how Pandora, a Danish jewelry manufacturer, started. This company was founded 40 years ago. A Danish couple, so at the beginning of 80s, imported cheap jewelry from China and sold it on the local market. As the business started to grow, they started to make their own products, hired design people, and so on. And nowadays, Pandora is one of the largest Danish companies, and you can see it in many large malls, supermarkets, and so on. Different price and different costs. Newsstand price and subscription price for magazines differs in a large part because of the higher cost of selling at the newspaper stand rather than mailing magazines directly to consumers. Now, newspapers, physical newspaper business is slightly disappearing. After the emergence of internet 10, 15 years ago, people moved gradually from the classic newspaper to online now. Now the fact that you can find a lot of news free on the internet, on Facebook, on Twitter, on LinkedIn. Many people no longer buy a subscription to classic newspapers. So this is a dying business. Another dying business was Kodak's, let's say, photo industry and so on, the classic way of buying a photo device and so on. Considering nowadays that smartphones, tablets can make decent photos or very good photos that we couldn't do them without highest technology, let's say 50 years ago, 40 years ago, Kodak's business was heavily impacted. Kodak was the sixth largest company in 1982, while several years ago was in the brink of bankruptcy because it was no longer able to keep, let's say, its products were no longer in line with this digital era, with the fact that people use smartphones to take photos, most of the people. Perfect price discrimination. The firm sells each unit at the maximum amount any customer is willing to pay. Price differs across consumers and it differs too for a given consumer. Okay, so we have firms can easily increase profits with imperfect individual price discrimination. So charge individual specific prices, which may or may not be the consumer's reservation price. Transaction costs and the price discrimination. It is often too difficult or costly to gather information about each customer's reservation price for each unit of the product. However, recent advances in computer technology have lowered these transaction costs. Individual months ago compared book short of if you during the period of lockdown uh, Okay, some problems with my internet, and now I'm online again. Okay. Group price discrimination. Let's share my screen again. Group price discrimination occurs when potential customers are divided into two or more groups with different price for each group, single price. The two conditions for group consumers may differ by age, location, or in other ways. A firm must have market power, be able to identify groups with different reservation price and prevent. Now, what I have noticed, car brands ask different prices for the same new car in different markets. For example, the US market, considering the fact that it's one of the largest and highly competitive market, the price, for example, of a new BMW 3 Series is lower as compared to what it is offered in Europe. In Europe, where prices tend to be one of the highest in the world. Warner Brothers, legal monopoly by copyright, produces and sells the Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 DVD. Warner engaged in a group price discrimination by charging different price in various countries. Resale is not possible because DVDs have incompatible formats. Now about this film industry, which is growing nowadays, considering torrent and other, let's say, platforms where you can download movies for free, which is this creates heavy losses for film producers. And it's interesting what Netflix did. Netflix, some of the Netflix subscribers buy subscription only for the some Netflix made movies, and to prevent this, let's say, the fact that movies may be available on free platforms on the internet before Netflix provide them on their online platform. Netflix decided to make 5 or 6 possible endings of the movies, so that when one is watching the movie, he won't know until the end which one is the last version. So to prevent this free the fact that you can watch the movie free on the internet without paying a subscription. However, this is only done for movies with long-term movies with large budget, not for ordinary movies. Okay, price discrimination. Okay. Calculus, again, the derivative calculus. So identifiable, divide buyers based on observable characteristics. The firm believes observable characteristics are associated with unusually high or low reservation price or demand elasticities. Movie theaters price discriminate using the age of customers. Yes, in some cases you heard children for free, or students have a discount, and so on. Higher prices for adults than for children. However, this is natural from one point, because students and kids do not have, let's say in certain case, their own revenue. Adults or their parents provide them the necessary resources, so you cannot ask a student or a child to pay the full amount, because that's a way to, let's say, gain in the long term a possible customer. For example, if student is able to see a theater production with a 20 or 30% discount, the future adult will come to the theater again and like theater and so on. However, if he doesn't afford, this is also the social impact, because culture should not have, culture product should not be very expensive. A wider part of the society, a wide part of the society must have access to it in order to to increase the level of the average level of culture in the country. And if we watch the secret of success of different economies in the world, education was let's say the secret of long-term development and economic growth, because increasing the level of education, that society could have created more ideas, research products, higher value added, lower corruption, and so on. Okay. Let's we have here some examples. Firms with market power often pursue a pricing strategy called the bundling. Bundling consists of selling multiple goods or services for a single price. Most goods are bundles of many separate parts. However, firms sometimes bundle even when there are no production advantage and transaction costs are small. Bundling allows firms to increase their profit by charging different prices to different consumers based on the consumer willingness to pay. Pure bundling, only a package deal is our cable company sells a bundle of internet, phone, and television for a single price, no service separately. Yes, bundling appeared because there is high competition in the market now, and the price of internet and mobile phone dropped significantly. In European Union, a law significantly determined the reduction of prices. For example, it says that all European Union countries should perceive the same mobile phone and internet tax to customers, and the countries which have higher, let's say, costs for internet, and they were gradually impacted by this decision. So this bundling was not offered only because companies were willing to do so, but because of the fact that in certain cases, the higher competition, what was happening with government regulation determined them to do so. Mixed bundling goods are available as package or separately. Okay. Bundling. Peak load pricing means charging higher prices during periods of peak demand than in other periods. So again, Heinz, by putting Heinz on sale periodically, Heinz managers can price discriminate. Switchers are prices. They always know when Heinz is on sale and buy it. Loyal customers do not distort their shopping pattern solely to buy Heinz on sale. There are more switchers than loyal customers. Then having sale is a more profitable than selling a uniform price. Now, what it does not say here, and you as marketing specialists already know that, is that large companies pay a lot of money uh, to have their products well placed in the supermarket. So the same with Heinz. So I'm 100% sure you won't find Heinz somewhere hidden in a remote area of the hypermarket, but you have it in a good place right in front of your eyes. And when you buy, let's say you go to the, let's say, mustard ketchups area, is just there. You just notice it, you see it. And of course, this is a brand. People know it for dozens of years, and see Heinz, you just buy it. For example, I know from somebody who was working the supermarket, said, you know, Orbit and Mars and are paying a lot of, Coca-Cola are paying a lot of money to have their products very close to where they pay their shopping, because let's say we did some shopping, and when we pay and we're ready to leave the mall, say, okay, let's buy some Orbit or Coca-Cola or until we leave. So it's also, I think it's a science, the way you place your products inside a supermarket. Switchers than loyal customers. Yes, this is probably only Heinz marketing even knows the percentage of switchers and loyal customers from the total amount of customers. Now it's ideal to have a high share of loyal customers, but considering the high command, I'm telling from my part, when I know I'm buying, let's say, a product for dozens of years, and sometimes from curiosity, I'm just curious, I just buy something else to try to see how good it is or bad. And sometimes I'm disappointed that I go back to the product I used to buy, or okay, I just found a new product. I like it slightly better. And then I just find it. However, not all consumers are like this. So if you study market psychology and consumer psychology, you see that some, let's say, consumers have a more traditional approach. So some people do not like changes so much. So they stick to the brands they know prices, they know where to find them. Other people, let's say, like more adventurous, more risk-taking, they just prefer trying, let's say, new products, even though there's the risk of not liking it, or paying a price and throwing it away, just don't like the taste and so on, the product.